Not long ago, I was out getting lunch, and as I sat in line at the drive-thru, I saw a man walking across the parking lot. He was wearing a t-shirt, and the design on the front of the shirt was a lion's head on one side, and then next to the lion's head was text in 4 lines that read, "Husband, Daddy, Protector, Hero." And my instinctive reaction was, he thinks a lot of himself, doesn't he? But then it occurred to me that the shirt might have been a gift from his wife or his kids, and I thought, I really should give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I also felt like a bit of a hypocrite because I will occasionally wear Superman t-shirts, like this one, and once, years ago, I was told by someone close to me that they didn't like it when I wore Superman shirts because they felt it was egotistical. I said, how is it egotistical to wear a Superman shirt? And they said, because it's like you're saying that you are Superman. I found that to be a really uncharitable reading of my Superman shirt. When I wear a Superman shirt, and I would venture to say when most people wear Superman shirts, the intended message is not, I think of myself as Superman. The intended message is, I like Superman. Why default to the interpretation of the shirt that makes me a conceited jerk? I think I deserve the benefit of the doubt on this one. Then I got to thinking about that phrase, the benefit of the doubt. We use that phrase a lot. We counsel others to extend it to people, give them the benefit of the doubt. We demand it for ourselves, give me the benefit of the doubt. I thought about it during my drive home, and as I was thinking, I drove by this house not far from my neighborhood where there's a Trump flag flying on the front porch. It's not the standard blue Trump campaign flag, which would be bad enough. It's the black variant with the Trump 2024 campaign logo taking up most of the flag, and then underneath the logo is the line, "Fuck your feelings." Trump 2024, fuck your feelings. I thought to myself, what an asshole. And I'm comfortable with that. I have no second thoughts about taking an uncharitable interpretation toward the person who put up that flag. The dude in the lion shirt? Maybe he's a delusional narcissist who thinks of himself as a hero, but he probably just has a family who loves him and bought him a shirt to express how they feel. Someone wearing a Superman shirt? It's possible, I suppose, that they're trying to impress other people by saying, look at me, I'm Superman. But it's more likely that in wearing that shirt, they're saying, I like Superman, the comic book character, so much that I felt the need to wear a shirt with his emblem on it in public, which, trust me, doesn't impress anybody. In those examples, people deserve the benefit of the doubt. If all you know about a person is that they're wearing a husband, daddy, protector, hero shirt or a Superman shirt, there's no reason to take the least flattering interpretation. But a Trump 2024 fuck your feelings flag? In order to extend to someone the benefit of the doubt, there needs to be a doubt. And where's the doubt? What's the possible positive interpretation? Let's not jump to conclusions now. The person flying the Trump 2024 fuck your feelings flag from their house isn't necessarily a toxic, ignorant, hateful reactionary. Maybe they're displaying that flag because... What's the end of that sentence? What reason could you possibly have for flying that flag that doesn't automatically make you a Nazi-loving fuck-ass? Did you lose a bet? Sometimes it's okay to welch, Are kidnappers holding your child and threatening to kill them if you don't put that flag out? How attached could you possibly be to the kid? How old are they? 2? 3? They barely even know who you are at that point. My point is, seeing a flag like that on someone's house isn't the same as those 2 t-shirt examples. It isn't the same as seeing, say, a particular make of car in their driveway. It's not fair to jump to conclusions about the person living in the house based on nothing more than the car you see parked out front. Even if it's a Cybertruck, you can't be sure. Maybe it's not theirs. Their douchebag brother-in-law might be in town for the weekend. You don't know. But Trump 2024, fuck your feelings? You know. And my larger point is that a whole bunch of people are still acting like they deserve the benefit of the doubt and demanding the benefit of the doubt from the rest of us when they have long since erased any trace of doubt. When Donald Trump was on trial in Manhattan a couple of months ago, you remember, when he was convicted on 34 criminal counts, the media was full of indignant Republicans, along with Trump himself, crying about how unfair it all was and how Donald Trump was innocent until proven guilty and deserved the benefit of the doubt, which he did deserve from the court, which he did deserve from the jury. That's the whole reason we have trials. Defendants are given the benefit of the doubt. Then we have the trial, and the prosecution's job during the trial is to present evidence that removes that doubt. If they can't remove the doubt in the minds of the jurors, then the defendant is found not guilty. That's in court. And hey, I admit, if Trump had been found not guilty, the rest of us would have had to grudgingly accept that, because that would have been the jury's verdict based on what they saw during the trial. But it's beyond presumptuous and way past preposterous to ask those of us who weren't serving on that jury to act like defendant Donald Trump was entitled to the benefit of the doubt from us, as though it was somehow in question whether Trump, the most screamingly obvious crook on the planet, had actually committed the crimes of which he was accused. Something similar happened in the aftermath of the assassination attempt on Trump. We suddenly heard all these stories from people close to Trump about how he had supposedly been changed. And reporters and pundits all across cable news, not just Fox News, but CNN and MSNBC, the supposed liberal media, they all eagerly amplified these stories. Oh, Trump is a different person. He's been humbled. He's going to strike a more unifying tone. And when some of us scoffed at that and said, yeah, right, these Trump suckers fired back with, how dare you? This man has had a brush with death. Can't you at least wait until he's had a chance to speak before you make your mind up about him? Doesn't he deserve the benefit of the doubt? Then, in his first social media post after the shooting, Trump demanded that all the criminal charges against him be dropped, called his prosecutions a hoax, and blamed everything personally on President Biden. Then, the following week at the Republican convention, he gave a speech where he droned on for an hour and a half about the army of undocumented immigrants that's swarming across the border to murder us, and the election that was stolen from him, and how he's never done anything wrong, and those mean old Democrats are out to get him. In other words, no new tone, no new Trump, same shit, different day. Getting shot at didn't change him, just like January 6th didn't change him, just like losing the election in 2020 didn't change him, just like COVID didn't change him, just like Charlottesville didn't change him, just like winning the election in 2016 didn't change him. Nothing's going to change him. There is no reason to ever assume Donald Trump will mature, will discover in his late 70s an honesty and empathy and curiosity about other people that has been absent his entire life up to now. He's always been a terrible person. He always will be a terrible person. It's obvious to anyone who actually looks, no doubt, no benefit of the doubt. And if that goes for Donald Trump, it also goes for people who are still planning to vote for him. If you fly a Trump flag outside your house, you know what you're doing. You know what you're voting for. You know he's a crook. You know he's a liar. You know he's a bigot. You know he's a fascist. You know he's an ignorant, gullible, incompetent kook. You know civil courts have found him liable for raping a woman and committing financial fraud and have ordered him to pay hundreds of millions of dollars. And you know he's a convicted felon who was found guilty on 34 criminal counts. You might deny some or all of those things, but those facts are the facts. You can deny that the moon exists too, but to paraphrase another famous right-wing sexual predator, the tide still goes in and out. Trump gets no benefit of the doubt. And if you support him, neither do you. Republicans may think they have the right to demand that we just forget about everything Trump has ever said and done and treat him like someone we're only just finding out about. But just because a bunch of them, including their vice presidential nominee, are spineless former never-Trumpers who conveniently developed amnesia when Trump took over the party, doesn't mean that's who we are. We're not the same. Their side tries to erase history. Our side prefers to make history. And when we get our shit together and show up as a united front, that's what we do. And that's what we will do in this election. Because if we want to preserve the benefits of democracy in this country, we must defeat Donald Trump and the Republicans on November 5th. Of that, there is no doubt.